This is the only surviving footage of Joe Harriott doing what he did best. For those in the know, he was a jazz genius, but unlike his idols, Duke Ellington and Charlie Parker, he never became rich or famous. The sad truth is that despite his talent, he was virtually destitute towards the end of his life and ravaged by illness. He died aged just 44 and is buried here at Bitton Cemetery in Southampton. 40 years on, there are those who feel he deserves to be recognised, which is why, as part of Black History Month, there's been a day of remembrance and celebration.
If one goes to uncover his music, one will find out an artist who really was at the top of his game at that time, but perhaps was not recognised as fully as he could and should have been.
He is vastly important in the jazz scene, not just in England, but I mean European-wide, even American.
There are many British artists who unfortunately are not known to the world, the general public, but Joe should really be known, and I hope they do release some more of his recordings.
His playing and his technique were dazzling.
Writer Stella Muirhead believes Joe's story needs a wider audience.
And there are some really good tracks on here.
She's written his biography about his roots as an orphan in Jamaica, his time at the famous Alpha Boys School, where he was taught to play by nuns, and his passage to England in the 1950s, a time when multiracial Britain was being painfully formed.
He immediately made an impression. He was so good. And in a way, I see him as somebody like Picasso. He invented a free style of playing jazz, unlike anything that had ever happened before, and provided a musical parallel to abstract art. And when I listen to the freeform pieces in particular, I do see colours in my head, and I think that's something really amazing, you know, to have an artist of that calibre who made that journey, you know, from that orphanage. And that's what I remember, an artist of world standing.
So why did he end up penniless in Southampton? Well, this weekend, as a musical tribute was paid to him in the city, those who knew Joe Harriott gathered to remember a complex genius.
He didn't suffer fools too well. He was a guy that liked the best of musicians.
My main job, looking after him, was to make sure I put his bets on in time.
Marilyn Leighton and her husband took him into their home in Bitton when his health started to fail.
It wasn't always a privilege to have Joe stay with you. It depended on if you could afford your phone bill afterwards, but we all loved him.
As far as the jazz scene, you know, the jazz industry was concerned, I don't think he courted popularity. He was very good, and he knew how good he was as well. He had great confidence in his ability.
A very, very cool player, and the kind of saxophonist you can listen to late at night in a jazz club.
When I'm listening to Joe sometimes, it just makes me feel mellow, relax, you know, and think. It makes me think what life is about.
Joe died from cancer in 1973, and while his musical legacy lives on in his recordings, his friends hope this new recognition will bring his talent to a wider audience. Rachel Hepworth in Southampton for Meridian Tonight.